Nana, don't say that on camera.
Oh, okay.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a little bit different than what I normally try to put out there. My grandfather just lost his best friend of 70 years, and we just came back from the funeral. It's pretty sad. Really, only 10 people could be there. Everyone had to stand 6 feet apart, no wake or really anything. So I wanted to do something special for my grandfather, and I thought a great way to commemorate that would be to talk about the place that fostered this 70-year friendship. So I talked to my grandfather and my Nana, my uncle, Father John, and chatted with a few of my other uncles and talked about what it was like growing up in Roxbury, Massachusetts. So I know this might not be everyone's type of video, but it's really special to me, it's really special to my family, and I honestly think it's really interesting to hear about. So let me know what you think. This one's for Jimmy.
I was born on Shirley Street in Roxbury, and I lived right next door to the Shirley Eustace mansion that was built in 1747. And when my brothers were little kids, they used to hang on the back porch and watch all the rich old ladies over at the Shirley mansion eating cupcakes, and they would hang their tongues out, and after a while the old ladies would give them a cupcake.
How many siblings do you have?
7.
7, and what are their names starting from oldest to youngest?
Jimmy, Franny, Jeannie, Stevie, Father John, Richie, Maureen, and me.
And so you're the youngest of 8 kids?
That's right.
Okay. How much was a movie ticket when you were little?
If we went to the Shack, it was 3 cents. If we went to the high class movie, it was 25 cents. But you got to see 2 movies and all the news and some cartoons and everything.
What was dinner typically like? Did you eat as a family, and what did you eat? What was like a common meal for you guys?
But supper, you mean?
Yes, supper.
Dinner was lunchtime.
Okay, supper.
Okay. The supper was, we usually had smoked shoulders or lamb or chicken and dumplings, beef stew, stuff like that. Yeah.
And did you guys eat as a family?
Yeah.
At one table?
Yeah.
And was your mom the one who cooked all the meals?
Yeah.
Okay.
We didn't have moms in them days. We had mothers.
Mothers, got it. What did you usually do for breakfast?
When my mother cooked a hot breakfast and a hot lunch when we come home from school, and then she cooked a hot supper. So you had 3 hot meals a day.
Did you ever have dessert?
Yeah, she'd she'd always whipped up a vanilla cake and made a frosting and put it on it.
Oh, that sounds so good.
We actually ate pretty good.
How did you spend your weekends?
Just exploring Roxbury. Might take a ride on the bike down to the old Ironsides down in Charlestown. We'd go down to the local dump and build a clubhouse or something. And we played baseball and stuff like that.
Did you ever hitchhike?
Oh yeah. When I was about 12 years old, we used to hitchhike from Roxbury to Westwood in a place called Scoutnet.
And you would hang out there?
Yeah, we'd stay there for a couple of weeks until our cans of beans and stuff run out.
Who was your childhood best friend?
Well, different times, different kids. Frank Granigan was one.
What'd you do with them?
Well, we'd go all the places together. But at different ages, we did different things.
Did your family ever go on vacation?
No.
No. Did other families go on vacation, or wasn't a thing back?
No, mostly didn't. I mean, if you had somebody in the family owned the car, you might take a ride to New Hampshire or something. Not much.
Did you have your own room?
I had my own room with 5 brothers.
since you didn't have a phone or a TV, what did you do in your free time? Like, what were your hobbies?
Well, we had the paper game and tropical. I had about 10,000 tropical fish. And those are the stay-at-home hobbies. So.
Yeah. Did you ever get in any fights?
Oh yeah, we got fights. When you're kids, they were minor fights.
Yeah. Was that popular in Roxbury? Did like everyone get in a lot of fights?
Yeah, everybody got in some. I knew pretty much everybody. You didn't know them. One of your brothers knew them.
What did your dad do for work?
He worked his whole life with Boston Edison
Boston Edison. What was that?
Electric Company.
What were your parents' names?
My father's name was Francis, and my mother's name was Nora.
Nora. Tell me a little bit more about the housing project you lived in.
Well, it was pretty fancy. We had hot water. We had a place to take a bath. We had heat. The heat didn't go off until 1 o'clock in the morning. It came on at like 6 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, nice.
So it was pretty fancy living. Oh, no, very few people had houses. Most people live in apartment buildings.
When you were out of high school, you went into the services.
I went into the Air Force, yeah.
Now, did most people go into the services or like the Air Force or?
Most people went into the services unless they had a disability, yeah.
And no one went right to college? That wasn't very
Nobody
common?
went to college at all.
Okay.
Most of them didn't finish high school.
Did you finish high school, Dad?
No.
No, so you went just right into the services.
Yeah, I went to high school for 5 years and then I went in the Air Force.
Okay. And what was dating like back when you were growing up?
It usually was a set-up affair. You know.
Yeah.
The girls didn't like you being single, so they find some girl that you had to be a girlfriend.
How did you meet Nana?
Well, she trapped me.
How did she trap you?
No, she was a friend of mine's neighbor, Stevie O'Malley. Well, there used to be a cartoon in the Boston Globe called Little Abner, and the way they found girlfriends was they'd have the Sadie Hawkins Day parade. Sadie Hawkins Day, you know. And on Sadie Hawkins Day, the girls would get clubs and they would chase around all the men. And when they caught one, they'd hit him over the head with a club, and then they dragged him back. They dragged him back to the preacher, and he'd marry them.
Or Nana's parents had to approve of you.
I guess they had to approve of me. But as long as I had a brother that was a priest, and that kind of gave me a pre-approval.
Did a lot of families have a priest in the family, or is that rare?
Not a lot, no. My family did. Most priests came from wealthy neighborhoods, and my brother wasn't from a wealthy neighborhood. Priests were usually from a higher class families.
If you were to buy like a pair of shoes, like how much would a pair of shoes cost you?
I don't remember exactly what they cost, but when they wore out, of course they were leather shoes, so they used to wear out. The bottoms would wear out.
Yeah.
So we used to take them up to Joe Ginduso, the cobbler, and he'd ask you how much money you had, and you'd say $2. He'd build you a whole new pair of shoes for the $2.
You said the cobbler?
Yeah, Joe Ginduso. Yeah, he'd literally build you a whole new pair of shoes. He had leather soles, so the leather soles wore out kind of fast.
Yeah.
Because you scrape them on the sidewalk. We put cardboard in there when we got a hole in them, and then when it got too bad for the cardboard, we'd have to have Joe Ginduso rebuild them.
What was school like?
Well, it was a Catholic school with all nuns.
Did you have a uniform?
No. What do I know? Did we have uniform? Yeah, I guess we did. Yeah, I guess we were. We buy a pair of pants in September, and we would wear that pair of pants to Easter. And then we get a new pair of pants.
Did you go to Mass every Sunday?
Oh, yeah.
Did everyone go to Mass every Sunday, or is that just you?
Just about everybody.
So Sunday Mass was also like a social event too.
Well, just about everybody went to Mass. The church was bulging with people. They had like upstairs and downstairs Masses, and they went from 7 o'clock in the morning until noontime. And they were all packed.
Did you smoke cigarettes in high school, like, or as like a kid, or you never really?
Well, we started smoking about 12. The only one I knew that didn't smoke was Jimmy Igo.
And Jimmy Igo was one of your good friends too.
Yeah. His grandfather had a missing finger with the bone sticking out. I used to talk to him too.
What was your favorite memory about growing up in Roxbury?
Well, we had lots of friends. Lots and lots of friends.
Yeah.
Maybe like 100 friends.
Moved over to Hampden Street. We were the first family in the Orchard Park housing project. There was no other family there. We were the very first family that moved in on 131 Hampden Street. I do remember when the snow would come, we'd go out and dig tunnels, and there was so much snow in those winters back in those days that I remember losing shovels underneath, digging in the snow and not finding them till spring. They get lost under the snow. The snow would be there the whole spring. I can remember sometimes trying to play games like a little baseball and so forth in the front yard. Somebody threw the bat back from the home plate and hit me on the chin, and that's the reason I lost my teeth here. I had them replaced. I mean, see, we had a lot of, the Washburn family lived upstairs, and the Williams, there's a lot of the families. We did most of our growing up there and going up to St. Pat's to school. And I remember the first year I became an altar boy, I get up every morning early and serve the 6:30 Mass. I remember one time walking all the way to Fenway Park at night and coming back at night. We weren't afraid, you know. Mm-hmm. We sold papers. Of course, I was selling papers as young as I think in the second grade. My grandfather, I remember one time we'd come to the house on 131 Hampden Street. He'd give us a little money and we put it in this big cat and we drop it into the cat. And one time we had enough money to go on a trip to Nantasket Beach on the boat. And when I think of it in our family, Nani made a real supper every single day, and in my memory, she baked a cake every day too. No matter what, Gamp would be there for the supper. I think even during the war years when Gamp worked 2 jobs, Gamp was older, so he didn't get drafted right away. And by the end of the war, he never actually got drafted, but he worked hard in the war effort and worked on 2 jobs. So during those years, we didn't see so much of him, but he used to come home for supper. And I remember the day that my brother Danny, your grandfather, learned the word interesting. And Gamp took us for a walk to Dudley Station and he used to point things out to us. So Danny kept pointing things out and he'd say, Daddy, that's interesting. And then if you saw some guy maybe had been drinking on the corner, Danny said, that's not interesting. I always remember Danny, that was kind of cute. And then of course we'd walk over to South Boston to the beach. And I remember one time Danny didn't want to go to Carson Beach anymore, so Gamp said, well, we'll go to O'Reilly Beach, which was the same beach. So we always called part of Carson Beach O'Reilly Beach.
Nana, don't say that on camera.
Oh, okay. Mary Agnes Cohen McLaughlin. And my parents are Peter Joseph Cohen and Mary Agnes Condon Cohen.
How old are you? What year were you born?
1945, and I'm 39 and holding.
Okay. And where are you from?
Dorchester, God's country.
How many siblings did you have?
Nothing, none, because my parents made perfection when they made me.
What dating was like when you were young, like 21?
It was person to person.
How did you meet Da?
At a party in Stoneham. And I was with a blind date.
But you liked Da instead?
Yes, because Da had red hair, a yellow shirt, he was Irish, and my blind date was
to date outside of Dorchester, or was it okay to date someone from Roxbury?
Oh my God, no, that was lowering yourself, someone from Roxbury. Mm.
No, Nana, don't be mean in the video. Since you didn't have a phone or a TV, what did you do in your free time?
I had a TV and a phone.
You had a TV and a phone?
Of course.
Were you rich?
No. But didn't everybody?
No.
She had a party phone.
A party phone? What's a party?
Party line.
What's a party line?
That's when 4 or 5 houses have the same phone. And you
Oh,
want to call up, you have to say, is anybody on the phone?
I didn't know that existed. What did you eat for dinner on like a typical night or a supper? And did your family always eat together?
Yes, there were only 3 of us. Roast beef, turkey, the finest.
And who taught you how to cook?
My mother.
And did your mother ever have a job?
Yes, part-time.
What was her part-time job?
She worked for the state at one point, and she worked in a department store.
Who lived in your house?
In our apartment, it was my mother, father, and myself. And upstairs on the 2nd floor, it was my grandmother, my aunt, and my uncle. And on the top floor, it was my cousin Eleanor May and her mother and father.
Where did you go to high school?
Monsignor Ryan Memorial.
Did you wear a uniform?
Yes.
Was it all girls?
Yep. All girls.
And what was your favorite subject?
English.
Who was your best childhood friend, Nana?
Mary Jane Sullivan and Pat Garvey.
And what did you guys like to do together?
Go to Howard Johnson's on Friday night.
What's that?
What's Howard Johnson's? Oh, God bless us.
Howard Jones is the one that discovered flavored ice cream.
Oh, really? So it's
Yeah.
like a restaurant?
Yeah.
Oh, yum.
Well, it's ice cream.
And they had jukeboxes at every booth, and oh, it was wonderful.
This was the picture, I think it came from the 8th grade in St. Pat's, Roxbury. And we've got it in the house. Sister Marion was having these pictures, and we brought it to the house. Visit, we beseech thee, O Lord, this habitation, and drive far from it all snares of our enemy. Let thy holy angels dwell herein to keep us in peace, and may thy blessing be upon us always, through Christ our Lord. Amen.